he's a very intelligent man, certainly. He's a doctor by trade, and it speaks a lot of sense in some regards about these wars, these ridiculous wars over there that are bankrupting the country and just getting us in worse stance with the people in the Middle East. So there's a lot of things you could say, yeah, he's different and he's right. But there are things that disturb me, too. He believes in getting rid of he agreed with Richard Nixon, he said.
Minimum wage.
Minimum wage. There you go. That's what I'm looking for. He agrees with getting rid of the minimum wage, which would basically say people could pay you anything. We could have Chinese-style wages over here. And he's also said, I believe that Richard Nixon did the right thing in opening up trade and with China. And look where that's led us. So there's been some things that are disturbing, he says, but I guess enough things that some people like. But is he really the answer? And I'll say this too, Barbara, I don't think they'll ever allow him to win. He's just there to give hope for those who are looking for hope, right?
Well, I've wondered if his purpose for being there is to throw the election, to divide the conservative vote and throw the election to Barack Obama. I don't know. I'm just speculating.
Yeah.
But just to add to what you were saying, he also promotes the laissez-faire economics of Ludwig von Mises, who collaborated with Otto von Habsburg and Coudenhove Caligari to establish the Pan-European Union. So Ron Paul, and he also advocates the establishment of private gold banks, which hold all of the gold, and the masses would have digital gold. So he's for a global currency.
Yeah.
But the banks would hold all of the gold. So when you look at his policies, he really is a globalist. And he also advocates that states should secede from the Union, from the United States. And that is just going to fragment the country and destabilize it. And he's written a book advocating revolution, which, of course, will also destabilize the country.
Yeah, and some of these things people have accused him of being just nutty. But he may be just a smokescreen and someone, as you said, to mislead those. Many of our presidents have been Freemasons in the past, including George Washington was a Freemason, James Monroe, Andrew Jackson, James Polk, James Buchanan, Andrew Johnson, James Garfield, William McKinley, Theodore Roosevelt, William Taft, Warren Harding, Franklin Roosevelt, Harry Truman, Gerald Ford, Daddy Bush, and, of course, W., and as well as Ronald Reagan was given a honorary membership in a Freemason group. And, of course, Barack Obama is a Freemason as well. So, folks, you could see that this group, very secretive group. Now, Barbara, we've been at another station where the sports guy, this guy Jerry, and he was a nice guy, and he said he was a Christian. He said, "Oh no, I'm a member of a Mason Lodge, and we're just good, looking to do good, and try to help people. And there's nothing secretive or scary about it." And that's the storefront of the Mason group, right? The local Mason lodges. But as you get high up in ranks, and there's all different numerical ranks, you find out, and I've had a Freemason who was a high-ranking one and got out of there and is a Christian now, and it was hard to find that, by the way, somebody who reached those ranks and was willing to come on the air and speak about it. Very difficult, because they're threatened not to talk about their secretive dealings. And he made it clear that this is a very much a cultic religious group who has clandestine designs on this country.
Yes. Their initiation rites are based on the ancient Egyptian mystery religion. Cyrus. Yes, they're very, very based in the occult. But it's all very secretive. And, of course, the hierarchy of Freemasonry is very hidden. And they don't realize that your average Mason does not realize the powers that are controlling the lodges and using them. I have a quote here from Leon de Poncin's The Secret Powers Behind the Revolution, Freemasonry and Judaism. He wrote, "There is moreover no candidate for the presidency of the great American public who does not court the friendship of this order," speaking of B'nai B'rith. "According to well-informed sources, there is in the B'nai B'rith a superposition of secret societies ending in a single governing power. Above the B'nai B'rith are the B'nai Moshe, then the B'nai Zion, and finally the hidden center of supreme command. I can only mention it without proof." And I believe that is the Priory of Zion, which is spoken of in esoteric literature, which your average person does not read.
No, your average American doesn't know anything about this, and they would say, how does that relate to me? It's because, folks, these people don't have your best intentions in mind. Yeah. And they have this very secretive, self-centered intention for their own power grab and control this country. And it's not a good one. Look where they've led us so far.
And it's only going to get worse.
Yeah. And what it's also disturbing, Barbara, you're a Christian, and Christians should be the most enlightened people because they should know the Word of God. And Jesus said, the truth will set you free. But many are so ignorant in this country and so easily deceived, which is very disturbing. We're seeing that they're supporting a Mormon and rallying behind a Mormon who says Jesus and Satan are brothers, which is, if you read the Bible, is blasphemy. It's just not there. Yet they're getting behind Mitt Romney.
Yes. Well, Jesus said that the end times would be characterized by tremendous deception. And he warned us in the Word, in several places, to beware and to take heed and be not deceived. So I believe that was the purpose of Watch Under Prayer, was to expose this deception that is within the Christian community. So much disinformation, so many agents of the secret societies are in the churches, in the community, wolves in sheep's clothing, and my burden, and I worked with another woman who went to be with the Lord about 3 years ago, and our burden was to expose the deception.
No matter what that leads you to, and sometimes it's scary, isn't it, Barbara, as we do on this program, but you have to embrace reality, and you have to embrace the truth, no matter how dark it may be, and say, hey, I'm not going to go with the flow anymore. Even though if it means I'm standing alone, I'm going to stand up for what I know is true and what is right, and I would hope that would be the heart of most Americans as they're educated. They would wake up to that fact and be willing to take a stand and not just be swept away with the euphoria of my party's going to win, that kind of thing. And just focus on
putting our hope in a political party.
Yeah.
Not what the Lord wants us to do. We're not to trust in princes.
And when it comes down to it, it seems like anybody's willing to sell whatever their beliefs or whatever they feel strongly about for the guy who's going to get the most money in my wallet. That's how they think, Right, Mike?
Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah, most definitely.
Americans, they're even though we still have the best lifestyle in the world, and we're still the number one economy in the world, yes, even above China, the fact that we're hurting a little bit scares us enough that we'll sell anything out just to make sure or think we're getting somebody who's going to help us do better financially.
Even if it's our soul, Jeff.
Yeah.
Even if it's our soul in the process. If that means I can get a few extra bucks, because this guy said he could do it. Well, yeah. I mean, it's like our security. We're willing to trade all of our rights to privacy, our right to, not be, tapped or anything like that. Our just basically our common civil rights. We gave those up so we could feel quote unquote secure.
Yes.
From an enemy that we created.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah, it's frustrating to watch the brainwashing that goes on and the deception, and then you try to talk to people and explain the truth, and they
don't want to be a part of it.
They look at you.
They look at you like you're the craziest person on the planet.
Or what planet did you come from?
Yeah. You're just nuts. That's just insane talk.
That's conspiracy
Rush
talk.
Limbaugh would never say that. He's a good American, And again, it just like you said, it goes back to the brainwashing. People will allow themselves to be led around on a leash like a dog if it means that they could feel quote unquote safer and more financially stable.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
I mean, they'd sell their grandmother for a stick of gum if they thought the stick of gum would enlighten their lives.
Well, Barbara, as we come to this election, all we could do is inform people, and hopefully they vote their conscience, even though that may mean voting for somebody will never get elected.
Not even so much for their conscience, Jeff. I want more than conscience. I want intelligence. I want people being smart.
Well, that's true.
Head.
They could vote their conscience, but if they're ill-informed, their conscience are going to mislead them.
Do the research. I mean, folks, I don't know where we went wrong in this country, where we thought being fat, lazy, and stupid was a way to get through life because we're Americans and we should just feel privileged. We're not. We still have to adhere to the values our forefathers gave us. You got to roll up your sleeves and you got to do the work. Otherwise, you don't get ahead in life.
And not placing your faith in politicians, unfortunately. Especially the higher up they go, the more they're bought by the system.
The more corrupt they are into the system.
And I think, too, the media is so controlled.
Yes.
Oh, most definitely. Most definitely, Barbara. I mean, corporations own them. They were bought, sold, and paid for. They're nothing more but PR outlets for the Department of Defense and the federal government, personally. That's how I see it. I think Jeff can agree with that.
Well, yeah. I mean, you could see that they slant things.
They control everything you read, you see, and hear.
Except the Internet.
Except the Internet. And programs like yours.
Yes.
Yeah, it's the last bastion of freedom of speech and where you could get information that is unfiltered.
But sometimes, as Barbara pointed out, as she was researching this information on Ron Paul, and I was as well, I wasn't finding as much as Barbara found it before it disappeared from the Internet, because there is a running discussion on the Internet about Ron Paul and Freemasonry, and there's a lot saying he is not a Freemason, but there you go. We found out tonight he is. He is one of them, folks. If he's trying to claim he's not part of the system, he's lying, and maybe we're misplacing our trust, even though he may say nuggets of truth here and there that we could agree with. In the end, he is not one of us. He's one of them. Well, all we could do is watch and pray, right, Barbara? Exactly.
And put our trust in the Lord and allow Him to take care of our material needs and our safety.
As it hits the fan and we realize that we can't trust the people we put into office, where else can you turn? Well, Barbara, thanks for taking time this evening and sharing on the program what you have discovered about Ron Paul, and we will all be watching.
I know I'm illuminated.
Absolutely.
Well, thank you for giving me the opportunity. This has been a burden on my heart. So.
All right. Take care.
Well, thank you.